This is Mrs. Donahue, and I just wanted to review with everyone how you should go through the book. And I want to give you a suggestion about creating a different document that sort of outlines what it is you're going to work on. Just like your teachers, when you're going to write an English essay, they say, okay, before you write your essay, do your outline. So you sort of do your research, and then you create an outline to say, these are the important points that I'm going to say in each paragraph, and sort of maybe you do a topic sentence. This is kind of the same idea, but for programming. So you can see I did some initial highlighting here. So it says the point of this exercise is to create methods that invoke other methods, and then you're going to create methods that take parameters, and you're going to practice using conditionals and keyboard input. So some of you did some of these things, but not all of these things. I would say most people didn't do parameters at all in their lesson. A lot of people did not do keyboard inputs, and also creating the methods that they ask for. Some people missed that. So you want to look, first of all, to see why you're doing this. And then always it tells you how to name. And then it's going to give us more information here. Okay, so first it says here we have to create 3 methods, and they need to be called area triangle, and we need to have area circle, and we need to have area rectangle. So we know that we have to have those 3. And then those 3 methods should take as parameters integers for the variables necessary to calculate the area of the respective figure. That's a big mouthful. All right, so what we know, these 3 parameters, these 3 methods have to take in parameters. And it said it needs to be integers, and there needs to be the variables necessary to calculate the area. So as you can see, I went down here. So methods that will take in parameters, area triangle. So then I might not even remember, I think when I originally did this, I had to search to make sure that I knew the right formulas, because I don't always calculate the areas. This is math, and I haven't taken high school math in a really long time, so I had to remind myself. So I looked up to make sure I had it right. So the area of a triangle is, the formula is half base times height. So you can do 0.5 times base times height. So I know I need parameters for input as base and height. So for a circle, I figured out the math formula. Pi times radius squared. So it's pi r squared. So I want to use math pi. Math.pi. I want to make my result has to be a double because of pi. And I need to do some typecasting. So I'm putting all this, so I need a parameter of radius. Then for the rectangle, I know I need it's length times width, so I need length and width. So I have that detailed in my document. So then it says each method should use mathematical operations to compute and print the area as a double. Okay, so these methods have to compute and they have to print, and the area has to be a double. So everyone should have the figures as doubles. All right, so now it says create a method called calc_area. So you can see down here in my document I have something called calc_area. It's another method. So this is a method. It's going to be called calc_area. Prompt the user for the type of area to calculate. So you have to, so this is prompt the user, and the prompt has to say 1 for triangle, 2 for circle, 3 for rectangle, 0 for none of them. So notice some people just said, type in the one you want. The user's not going to know which one it is, so you can't assume. You have to put the information on the screen. Then it says use the Java scanner to read the input. So this is another important piece. You have to use the Java scanner. And then if the user enters a 0, then return immediately. So the 0 is just going to send a return. And then you're going to use conditionals, use a conditional, and based on the type of area to be calculated, prompt the user for the dimensions. Okay, so based on the type of area, then you're going to prompt the user for the dimensions. And then you're going to call the appropriate area method. Okay, so again, this seems like a lot right away, but all you do is you break it out. So they talked about the scanner, importing the scanner, so I ended up putting that at the top. And I'm like, put code at the beginning of the class, and I reminded myself what section it was in, and then I even reminded myself the line, import space java.util.scanner with the semicolon. So that reminds me what to do. So let me go down here to the calc area. So user input for the type of area to calculate. 1 for triangle, 2 for circle, 3 for rectangle, 0 for none. got it. Just like I took it right from here. Use Java Scanner to read input. If, so it's because we're doing conditionals, right? So if input equals 0, return. If triangle, so if it's a 1, I'm going to prompt for base and height. If it's a 2, I'm going to ask for the radius, prompt for the radius. If it's 3, I'm going to prompt for length and width. And then I have to call the appropriate area method. So I skipped that on this, and I should have it, but I do know that I need to call the method. Now I am going to put a text box in here, and I'm going to show you how you can call the method by sending parameters. So let's say we're doing the triangle. We know I need to ask for base and height. So I'm going to say, and we know that it's called, the method name is area triangle. So I'm going to type area triangle. This would be in my code, and I would have to send base, comma, height down with a semicolon. So that's going to just call this method, and it's going to execute the method, because remember, the method itself is going to use the mathematical operations to compute and print the area as a double. So this line of code is going to be in the calc area method, because there's 5 different methods you're doing. So this is what a call will look like to a method. So that's going to give you an example there. The main method is only going to call, so this one's sending parameters. The main method is going to call the calc area method only. So it's just going to call it, it's not going to send parameters. So the way that one looks, go down here, is we're going to call calc area with blank inside. So you see inside these parentheses, there's nothing. And when I make the method for calc area, there's going to be no parameters sent, no parameters. The 3 methods that have to have parameters inside are area triangle, area circle, and area rectangle. This is how you call something, this is how you call a method that needs parameters. So that's what you do for that one. Now I'm going to show you, because a lot of people had trouble with this one, how to create a method that is going to take in parameters. And I'm going to show you, you had to do this in the debugging one too, how you have to have them in the same order. So we would just look back, we'd look to say, all right, oh geez, I don't remember how to do it. So you'd look, when you're creating your method, you always start with public, and it's static. And these ones are going to be void because we're not sending anything back. So we're going to put void in, because sometimes they're not void if you return something, but this one's going to be void. And this one is going to be called area triangle. And we want parameters on this one. So before, sometimes you don't have to have anything inside, but we want parameters. So we need to have inside, we're taking in the base, and we also want the parameter of height, right? So we want base and height. So we have to decide if the base and the height, we're going to make those doubles, because we're going to end up with doubles in the end, so we want them to be doubles. So we're going to go double base, comma, double height. And I put my parenthesis, I'm going to move this over so you can see. Put it over here. I have that, and then I need to have my curly brace. So what I usually do, I don't know if you guys do this, but I find this very helpful. I go curly brace, I do the open and close, and then I move my cursor inside and I just hit enter. So that way, let me move this down so you can see it a little bit. There we go. And then I go inside and I hit my tab. I have to actually hit spaces for this because it's a text box. So that way I know I'm in alignment. So now I'm going to double check. So if I have put base first and height first in my method, I need to make sure that I'm sending base first and then height second. Oh, I'm doing it correctly. That's very exciting. So remember, when you make your method, that's when you have to say to the computer the type of each parameter. And then inside this method, I have to compute and I have to print. So I would have to, so I like to do temporary variables, I don't know what you guys think about that. So, I'm not sure why that spacing is going down. It's supposed to be indented. This is just a little funky because it's a text box. And I don't know what's going on there, but it's not wanting to indent. I would be very angry with myself if I looked at this code. I'd say, you're not using proper indentation. So it should be around, should be like 5 spaces in. So we're gonna pretend. So I'm gonna create a double, and I'm gonna say area triangle. So so my method name can be the same name as my variable, because they're 2 different things. Some people might not like that. So maybe you could call it area try, but you want it to make it something that makes sense. So I'm creating a new variable. It's a double, and it's going to be equal to 0.5 times, so it's half base. So the variable base, it was introduced in this method, so I can use it right here. And I'm going to go times height. And then I put my semicolon in. Because it's multiplication, it's just going to go right in order. So sometimes you have to be worried about PEMDAS, and you have to be very, very, very careful. So now that I have that, and now I can say system.out.println, and then I'm going to say, I want to put some words. I want to say the area of your triangle. If only I could type, it would be so much better. Is, and I'm going to put a colon and a space, and then close quotes. And again, this is a text box, so you see the quotes went backwards. That's because it's a text box, so ignore that. Then I put the plus to concatenate, and then I can do area try. Close my parentheses, and I put my semicolon. So now, my method, I double check it. Each method should take in parameters as integers for the variables necessary. So yep, they take in parameters. Instead of doing integer, I mean, I suppose this could be an int, but because the area needs to be a double, I just did these as doubles. So you could put them as ints, but what if it was 7.5? Then I'd need to have it a double. So I'm just doing these as doubles. And then I have mathematical operations inside. Yep, mathematical operation, check. And do I print it? Yep, I'm printing it. I put words in front because we wanted to have a nice output, and I used the variable name. I'm concatenating it. I made sure I had a space in here so it's not going to be all squished together. Check. So I know that I've done that piece of it. So this is the detail that you kind of want to do. So the very last thing in this is it says in your main method, simply call calc area, which we already did. And so then they give us these tips. Don't forget to import the scanner. It tells us our section. It says MathPy should be used for your area of the circle calculation. So everyone should check, make sure they have MathPy. So when I did area circle, it says use MathPy because it says I need to do that. And then it also talks about it needs to be a double. So they give me some suggestions. So I put some information down here. So double area circle equals math.py. And so I use the double here as a typecasting. And I do math.pow. So I have my calculations down here to help me. And this is everything that I need. So I'll show you the whole page, what it kind of looks like. And once I do this, the thinking part, the coding is really easy. So I have everything I need. So I'm going to give you guys, you have these hints for what you need to do, and now you have to go and make sure you code for the rest of it. And I will put this document out so you can use it as well. And I hope this video helped. If you have any questions, send me a PT.